Hi, so I've been home from YWAM for 2 months, and I only have 2 more months until I go back. So I think it's about time I share a little more about my experience. To be honest, the outreach part was way different from what I expected, and so it's made it a little hard for me to talk about. But it was still really amazing, and there is a lot to share with you. But first of all, my time in Hawaii was incredible. Lecture phase was life-changing. It's honestly just such an amazing community to be a part of. My favorite thing was that we had intercession every day. Every day in the afternoon, we would all get together in the Ohana Court, which is this big, beautiful open space with birds chirping and the wind blowing through, just an ethereal atmosphere. And we all get together and we just worship our hearts out for a half an hour, just worshiping the Lord. And then we go into intercession and we pray on specific topics. Sometimes it would be for a specific country. Sometimes it would be for a specific group of people or an important situation happening in the world. And we would just go at it. And it was so beautiful and so powerful. That was like my favorite part of lecture phase. We also had so many amazing speakers come in. Every week had a different topic. There was like Father, Heart of God week and missions week. We had weeks focused on prayer. It was just really cool. All the most important things. One thing that's really cool about YWAM is that it's interdenominational. There's people of all different backgrounds. And that was so cool to be in unity with so many different people from so many different places. And everybody believes in Jesus. That's what brings us all together, is that we love Jesus and we want to share his love with the world. Those are the two things that are like, that's YWAM. Know God and make him known. And that's my life. That is what I know that I'm meant for. I met so many amazing people in Kona, such inspiring young people who are on fire for the Lord. And that's amazing. Like, it is so beautiful. Like, I'm young. I know I'm not super old. It's so beautiful to see such passion from these 18, 19-year-olds who want to give their lives to sharing Jesus with the world. Like, wow. It's really powerful. And it's not just hype. Like, we're all there for Jesus. And we get to move in power and love and joy. So yeah, lecture phase. I mean, I kept up with my blog mostly through lecture phase, so hopefully you can check that out. I will be starting that up again. I just got really overwhelmed on outreach, but I'm going to get back to that, and you can read more details about lecture phase there if you're interested. It was just such a wonderful time of preparing us to go on outreach, like just taking us deeper in the Lord and just practicing hearing his voice, because that's so important. It's so real. And then I went to Albania for 2 months on my outreach phase with a group of 18 people. We were the biggest group, and it was really cool. Everybody on my team was so wonderful. We all got along really well. We had some bumps, but of course, that's missions. That's life, that's relationship, is that you're going to have some bumps with the people closest to you, especially. But I love every single one of them. I had a really great team. Albania. Let me tell you about Albania. Okay, so they were literally like the little North Korea of Europe just 30 years ago. Communism really fell in just 1990. So a lot has changed in the past 30 years in that country. And they desperately need Jesus. Don't we all? We all desperately need Jesus. But man, they've been through so much heartache. Like, we went through a bunker museum. It's like down in this bunker, like an old war bunker. You go underground, it's super creepy, and they play weird music, but you get to see the history of the nation, and it is tragic. It is really tragic. But let me tell you, Mother Teresa came from Albania. She's originally Albanian. Albania is ancient Illyricum, or Illyrium, in the Bible, where Paul goes in the book of Acts and Corinthians, maybe. And the people are beautiful. The people are so kind. It is so much more relational over task oriented. Like, you go to meet your landlord to pay your rent, and you sit there and talk for at least 45 minutes about each other's lives and your families and your well-being before you even bring money up. And I think that's beautiful. When I say that outreach didn't look the way I expected it to, I tried really hard to go in without any expectations. But you kind of have an idea, and it would have been wonderful to have crusades and like speak on a platform or like go door to door and have people manifest demons in their doorway and have to cast them out. That happened with the Uganda team. And that's something I'm like, why didn't I do that? But because that wasn't God's plan for me. And the Uganda team did amazing and they grew in that, and that's awesome. But that was not the story of the Albanian team. A lot of our ministry was evangelism on the street. We would just walk up to people and say, hey, do you speak English? It's a really good conversation starter. You know where to go from there. A lot of the younger people spoke English, but not a lot of the older people. But if they spoke English, you just chat them up. And often we would just go on coffee dates. That was a lot of our ministry, was meeting young people and going to coffee with them and just having a relationship with them. Because they want to... Something that I will always remember Pastor Kenny saying at the Dream Center about the kids in the projects was they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that is true in every form, any part of ministry, any person, really. And especially in Albania, they don't want you to come with an agenda. And so we just got to have relationship with people. And it seems... It doesn't seem like this crazy big thing, but oh my gosh, when you think about it, it truly is. Like, these are people who could maybe never know Jesus or never even know godly love or proper friendship. There's such an attack of mistrust and just leftover residue from communism, and when neighbors were turning against neighbor and turning each other in for the slightest crimes and just some weird stuff that's left over. So for young people to be able to feel like they can trust us and then to meet Jesus, the King of Heaven, wow. Like, we did great work. We had our YWAM contacts. They're super amazing. 2 young families. One is from England and then the other is an American family. And they're so great. They had little kids. And they were just really amazing. They have been plowing in Albania. They've given their lives to Albania and the Albanian people. They're learning Albanian, which is a crazy language. It's so different from any other language. Like, thank you is Falamandarit, and I still say that, at least in my head. It's always my response. I want to say Falamandarit every time. So these 2 young families have been plowing. That was our tagline, the Albanian team. We are plowing in a post-communism world. That's what we just had to tell ourselves, because it seemed little. You know, in the moment, it seems like we're not doing a whole lot. We're going to coffee. Like, we had it good. Like, we were eating good. Like, we had a place with beds, you know. There were other teams that were trekking up the mountains and, like, showering once a week. So we didn't have that. And so I count myself as blessed. Like, what an amazing opportunity. The Lord just gave us that. And it was still a mission trip, and we still did the work of God. A couple of my favorite things from Albania were, the Roma kids. The Roma kids. We got to help at a Roma preschool. The Roma people they were traveling gypsy people once upon a time. But they have settled in Albania decades ago. But they're still not accepted by the Albanian people, nor do they want to be. And so they're kind of just outcasts of society. They're often begging on the streets. They don't really get real jobs, whether that's because they don't want to or because nobody will hire them. And so we got to help the youngest, the littles of that community. And they didn't speak a lick of English, and they were wild and crazy, but we got to love them, and we got to help teach them. And it was just really incredible to be a part of those little kids' lives and share Jesus with them and be able to have them forever in our prayers. I'm believing that they will break generational curses and things will change in that community because of these little kids that I knew. They're world changers. Another really cool instance that I had was me and Abby. We went and did evangelism, and we were doing a little treasure hunt, which is where you just ask God, give me a picture, give me a color, give me something, like a little clue to lead me to somebody that you want me to talk to. So Abby got purple umbrella, and so we ended up meeting these 2 girls. One of them had a very light lavender purple umbrella. And we just started chatting them up. Abby was great at that. She just started chatting with them, and one of them was a psychology major just like her, and so they got along with that. And so we were just talking and talking. One of them spoke really good English, and the other one at least understood it, and they were best friends since they were like 10 years old. And so we had been talking to them for a while, and we'd said, maybe we can get coffee with you sometime. And they're like, yeah, sure. And then they were about to go into their dorm, and we were like, hey, can we pray for you before you go in? And they're like, yeah. It's really, really weird there. But they let us, and we didn't pray any sort of really heavily, it didn't seem like some crazy heavily anointed prayer or anything, just like, Lord bless them and may they get to know you, whatever. And the one girl, she's like, I feel fire in my arm, like, what is this? And we were like, that's actually God, like, he's here right now. And she's like, no, this is magic, like, you do magic. And we were like, no, like, it's God. And they were like, wow, can we go get coffee like right now? And we're like, sure. And so we walked to a coffee place, and we sat down around a table for about an hour just talking about everything from like our families and school. I got to tell them my own testimony, and at the end I was like, hey, do you want this? Like, do you want to know this Jesus? And so we prayed with them, and they both accepted Jesus, and they're best friends, so they both experienced it together, which was super cool. We were able to give them Albanian Bibles. It was just amazing, really cool. I got to street preach in the park. We went to they have this really great park, really cool, lots of cool stuff, lots of trails around a big man-made lake and a fountain. So we went there, and we got to have a translator and everything, and I just stood up on a bench and like preached the gospel and a little bit of my testimony and had it translated, and people were like, I don't know, they don't know what to think. Some people were like standing behind me like videoing, and like people were like listening, but they're just so unsure. But it was really cool. There were like pairs of doves landing in the trees and like stray dogs coming up. Like, all of creation has been groaning to hear the gospel preached in that place. The majority of the population is like agnostic or Muslim, but even those that claim to be Muslim don't really practice. And the harvest is ripe for Jesus to come in, and he's doing something big. Like, we were able to leave like a good group of hungry young believers and people who are so close with our contacts there. And so they have a weekly Monday night group where they all get together, and that's going to shift things in the spirit realm. The majority of our ministry was prayer, and I am really coming to believe that is the most important, that is the most powerful thing we can do. We get to partner with God with our prayers, and he wants to answer our prayers. He wants people to know him. He wants to move. So we just get to like jump into that, and that's incredible. So yeah, those are some highlights. That's just a little bit about my time, my DTS, my discipleship training school with YWAM, Youth with a Mission. And if you want to know more details, please message me. I'd love to tell you more personally, but I'm just going to try to keep this short. I also want you to know that I'm going back to YWAM Kona at the end of September. I'm going for the School of Revival and Reformation, which I think just the name is really cool. It's a 9-month program. The first 3 months is reading the Bible, the whole Bible. The second semester is focusing on a biblical worldview. What does the Bible say about these hot-button topics in our world today? And then how do we communicate that to the world around us? And I believe that God is calling me there to truly build the foundation of everything else that I'll do. Because this is a long-term thing. I'm in it for the long haul. Like, whether I'm sticking with YWAM, I'm going to be a YWAMer for life, or whatever, I'm doing missions. This is my life, is to give everything I have to making Jesus known and to know him, to know him and make him known. That's it. And so yeah, I'm really excited. I go back September 30th. God is preparing me for something amazing, and I'm so excited. Wow. Like, really, I believe that, and that's super cool. And I just want to thank every single one of you who have sown into my ministry financially or prayerfully. Like, keep praying for me, please. And again, I'm fundraising for Rev and Ref. It's $9,000 total. I'm working really hard right now, and I'm going to do some fundraising stuff. And I'll put a link below if you want to partner with me in that. Because honestly, this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life. And I am looking for people who want to partner with me for the long haul. So if you're interested in that, please let me know. Hit me up. And I just want to thank you for watching. Thank you for caring. And pray for Albania. Pray for me. How can I be praying for you?